In the previous video, we saw how workers' rights are routinely violated in many ways in Qatar. The Gulf country is hosting the 2022 FIFA World Cup. In this video, we will dive deeper into the Kafala system, otherwise known as the sponsorship system, which is practiced in many Gulf countries. Millions migrate to these countries for work, and Qatar is a major destination. So what is the Kafala system? It is an exploitative practice that binds workers' residence and work permits to their respective employers, making them highly dependent and at the employer's mercy.
Before, we required exit permit when we have to leave Qatar, when we have to go outside Qatar.
In the 1970s, the Qatari ruling house feared the outbreak of resistance from migrant workers who hailed mostly from Egypt, Palestine, and Yemen. Although they spoke the same language, many had anti-monarchist attitudes. After Iraq invaded Kuwait in 1990, the Qatari government sought out migrant workers from South Asia, whom it could more easily segregate culturally. Workers from India, Bangladesh, and Pakistan were given a kafil, a sponsor, who could confiscate their passports, make it difficult for them to leave the country, or prevent them from changing jobs. Many of them fell ill or died in the blistering summer heat. But it was thanks to these workers that the rapid development of Doha was possible in the first place. International pressure after these abuses came to light forced Qatar to change its kafala practice. At first, this consisted merely of renaming it as a contract system. Then, the restrictions on changing jobs were partially relaxed. After that, the strict procedure for obtaining an exit permit was gradually abolished. Finally, the no objection certificate was completely abolished. The no objection certificate is a certificate granted by the employer which workers were required to have in order to legally change jobs. But a law is only as effective as its implementation and only as good as the worst laws the code contains. In this case, immigration laws.
It was very clear that a lot of the workers that are employed in the construction sites for the stadiums and so on are clearly working under conditions that can be labeled as forced labor. The ILO defines forced labor as all work or service which is extracted from any person under the menace of any penalty and for which the said person has not offered him or herself voluntarily.
Qatar, like other Gulf states, has over the years adopted relatively strict labor laws that provide minimum standards for working hours, rest periods, claims, and wages, at least on paper. However, workers are often reluctant to do anything that might upset their sponsor, since the latter has the ability to inconvenience them and create legal trouble, which would prompt yet more lengthy legal proceedings. But even in the face of harsh opposition, workers have been organizing themselves. In our next video, we will look at the many ways and organizations that make this fight not entirely one-sided.